Hello friends, I am Dr. Ashish Agrawat. Welcome to my channel Live Biochemistry. In this video, I am going to talk about the liver function test. It is a very important short note, frequently asked in your exam, and also it is very helpful in the clinical aspect also. So we will see what are the function of the liver. So it has a very important role in the carbohydrate, lipid, protein, and mineral and vitamin metabolism. So carbohydrate, protein, and lipid. In carbohydrate, which are the cycles that are taking place in the liver, that glycolysis, glycogenolysis, or gluconeogenesis, they are taking place in the liver. In protein, transamination, right? Transamination, deamination, urea cycle, very important. That will convert ammonia to the urea. And if liver fails, then ammonia is accumulated and it is toxic to the neurons, and it will lead to the encephalopathy. Then protein and protein factors, they are synthesized in the liver, right? And lipid, the lipoproteins are metabolized, cholesterol homeostasis takes place, then oxidation of fatty acid, ketone body synthesis taking place purely in the liver, right? So these are the cycles or metabolism that are taking place in the liver. Then excretory function, as we know, RBC lifespan is 120 days. After 120 days, RBCs are broken down and hemoglobin is converted to bilirubin, which is a waste product, and excreted via the bile. So this bilirubin, then bile pigments like bilirubin, biliverdin, bile salts, which are synthesized from the cholesterol, and cholesterol itself is excreted in the bile to intestine. So liver plays a very important role as an excretory function. Then synthetic function. Okay. So as we know, our major proteins, albumin, major plasma protein albumin, and alpha and beta globulin, they are synthesized in the liver, right? Gamma globulins, they are synthesized by the immunoglobulin by the reticular endothelial system. So albumin, then alpha 1 globulin like alpha 1 antitrypsin, then beta globulin like transferrin, then in alpha 2 ceruloplasmin haptoglobulin, they are synthesized, protein factors are synthesized in the liver. Then many carbohydrates and even lipids are synthesized. Gluconeogenesis is taking place in liver, fatty acid synthesis is taking place in the liver, and bile acids that will help in the emulsification, they are synthesized in the liver from the cholesterol. Liver play a very important role in the biotransformation and detoxification, right? So these are very important function of the liver. Liver also play important role in storage, like extra glucose is stored as a glycogen. It is very important. Vitamin B12 is also stored in the liver. So vitamin B12 is the only water-soluble vitamin which is stored in liver. Okay. Then fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, K, they are stored in the liver. If I summarize again, so liver play very important role in the metabolism of carbohydrate, protein, and lipid. Okay. Like ketone body synthesis, fatty acid synthesis, they are taking place in the lipid, cholesterol metabolism, and protein, urea cycle, transamination, deamination reactions are taking place in the liver. In the carbohydrate, glycolysis, gluconeogenesis, glycogenesis, they are all taking place in the liver. Then we have a excretory function, right? So cholesterol is excreted in the bile, then bile salts, right? And RBC is waste product, that is bilirubin, that is also excreted via the bile. It also play a very important role as a synthetic function like proteins, albumin, globulin, alpha, beta globulin, right? They are synthesized, protein factors are synthesized, and also a very important function as a storage. Storage of what? Storage of glycogen, storage of vitamin B12, right? So they are all vitamin A, D, E, K, fat-soluble vitamin are stored in the liver, and whenever we require, it provides that vitamin. Okay. So now, what are the common diseases that can affect the liver? So one is the hepatitis that can affect the liver. Most common cause is viral hepatitis, right? So they will damage the liver cell. Then cirrhosis of liver, alcoholism is most common cause. Right? And tumors. Okay, so these are very important diseases that are related to liver. Now there are various liver function tests are available that will help us to identify the different conditions, right? So liver function tests, they are used to detect the presence of liver disease, whether patient has a liver disease or not, or it will help to distinguish between the different types of liver disease, like whether there is a obstructive disease, obstructive liver disease, or hemolytic disease or hepatic disease. So different types of liver disease we can identify with the help of liver disease, liver function test, and it will help us to identify the liver damage. So if suppose there is an enzyme called SGPT, SGOT, so if the level is increased, that we can say the more damage has occurred. It will also help us to follow the response to the treatment. So after treatment, we again do the liver function test, and if they are normal, then we can say the patient is improving. Or if the level is increasing, then we can say patient is deteriorated. So now, what is the major classification of this liver function test? So test based on the abnormality of the bile pigment metabolism. So what are these tests? So one is serum bilirubin, that will include the total bilirubin and direct bilirubin. Okay, and we do it by the Wunderberg reaction. Then urinary bilirubin, okay, and urine electrical urobilinogen. Okay, for the urinary bilirubin, we do the Faucet test, and for the urobilinogen, we do the early test. Then test based on the liver part in carbohydrate metabolism. So galactose tolerance test and fructose tolerance test. As such, these tests are not used that much now because technology has developed. USG, CT, is available, and other various tests are available. So these are the tests are not performed. We will see in detail about in brief about that. Then test based on the changes in the plasma protein like albumin, globulin, AG ratio, okay, and plasma fibrinogen level. Then test based on the abnormality in the lipids like serum cholesterol level, ester cholesterol ester, and their ratio. Then test based on the detoxification function of the liver like sulfuric acid synthesis test. Then test based on the injected substance by the liver like bromosulfone test, ESP retention test, right? And I-131 Rose-Bengal test. Then formation of prothrombin by the liver, that is will help us in the bleeding disorders, and test based on the amino acid catabolism like determination of blood ammonia, and test based on the drug metabolism like MEGX, monoethyl glycine xylidine metabolism test, and antipyrin breath test. Then determination of serum enzyme. So if I revise it again, there is a test based on the excretory function of the liver, that is bilirubin, right? We will see in detail about this bilirubin. Then urine bilirubin, then urobilinogen. Right? This will help us to identify the different functions. Then there is a synthetic function of the liver like protein, albumin, globulin, AG ratio, right? Then based on the metabolism, we have a galactose tolerance test. Then based on the its detoxification reaction, that is the sulfuric acid test. Okay. Then based on the enzymes, there are some enzymes like SGPT, SGOT, alkaline phosphatase, GGT, nucleotidase. Okay, these are the enzymes that will help. Then there are some special tests like ceruloplasmin, okay, alpha fetoprotein, transferrin. Then there is also a viral marker. If there is a hepatitis, HBsAg, that can be a part of liver function test. Then there are some diseases that will help in the autoimmune disorders. Okay, so IgA, IgM, IgG, so they will help in identify different liver abnormality based on the autoimmune disease. Okay. Then we'll also include prothrombin time, and based on the drug metabolism, like MEGX test. These are all absolute tests. Okay, I will show you which are the most important tests. Okay, then based on the drug metabolism, that is MEGX test, right? Then excitatory function, homosulfothalin test. So these are the different liver function tests. So based on the detoxification and excitatory function, there is serum bilirubin, urine bilirubin, and blood ammonia. So as we know, bilirubin, you can watch my video about the bilirubin, right? So we do there is a Wunderberg reaction. What is this Wunderberg reaction? That bilirubin, right? The normal level of bilirubin, total bilirubin is 0.2 to 1.0 milligram, and direct bilirubin is less than 0.4 milligram per deciliter. Okay, so what is this total and this direct bilirubin? So direct bilirubin react directly with the sulfonamic acid and sodium nitrate. So in this presence of this diazo reagent, there is a diazo reagent that contains the sulfonamic acid and sodium nitrate. So this diazo reagent react with the bilirubin and give the purple color. Okay, so as we know, conjugated bilirubin, it is water soluble, so it reacts directly with the diazo reagent. That's why it is called as the direct bilirubin. While the indirect bilirubin, that will require the methanol. In the presence of methanol, so it becomes soluble and then it gives the reaction. So we will see the heme catabolism. So heme, as we know, is converted to biliverdin and biliverdin is converted to bilirubin. Then what will happen as the RBC broke down in reticular endothelial system, bilirubin that is formed, that is a unconjugated bilirubin, right? So this unconjugated bilirubin is water insoluble. So in the liver, there is the glucuronide transferase enzyme. It is conjugated, and that conjugated bilirubin is excreted via bile to the intestine, and it is converted to urobilinogen and stercobilinogen. Some amount of the urobilinogen, okay, it will by the enterohepatic circulation come back, and via that some amount goes to the urine. The color of urine or color of stool, color of urine is because of the urobilinogen, color of the stool is because of the stercobilinogen. So here, now what is important? If there is a damage to the RBC, when there is a more RBC breakdown, in that case, more and more unconjugated bilirubin will be there. That means that is indirect bilirubin. So indirect bilirubin level will be increased. Suppose your total bilirubin is 15 and your direct bilirubin is 1, that means indirect is 14. So that if you find this type of bilirubin picture, you will suspect the patient has the hemolytic jaundice, or you can say patient has the hepatic jaundice. Okay, so because of the RBC breakdown, it may be due to the hemoglobinopathy, or it may be due to the hemolytic anemia, Rh incompatibility, hereditary spherocytosis, all these conditions where there is a increased RBC breakdown, and it will lead to the unconjugated bilirubin increase. In case of hepatic jaundice, most common cause is viral hepatitis. So there is a damage to the liver cell, so conjugation does not occur, and even whatever conjugated bilirubin is there, it is not excreted because there is a inflammation of the duct, okay, biliary canaliculi. So it will lead to the both direct and indirect. Both bilirubin is increased. So suppose total bilirubin picture is 15, direct is 7, indirect is 8. If you see this type of picture, that means it is a hepatic jaundice. Some drug like rifampicin will damage the liver, like hepatitis virus, some bacteria, parasites, they will damage the liver. So these are called of hepatic jaundice, where direct and indirect both are increased. And if there is an obstruction in the gallbladder, like gallbladder stone, or there is a carcinoma of the head of the pancreas, it will lead to the obstruction in the flow of the bile, and so conjugated bilirubin is increased. So total bilirubin is 15, direct is 13, indirect is 2. If this type of picture, it is the obstructive jaundice. So based on the bilirubin picture, okay, total, direct and indirect. Based on that, you can identify the different type of jaundice. Okay, so based on the bilirubin level, you can diagnose whether patient has a hepatic jaundice, post-hepatic jaundice, or pre-hepatic jaundice. So this is why important, because if your total bilirubin is 10 and direct bilirubin is 8, total bilirubin is 10, direct bilirubin is 8, and indirect is 2. So that means the direct bilirubin is increased directly. If you get this type of picture, you have to go for the CT abdomen or USG abdomen to find out the gallstone or carcinoma of head of the pancreas. So like this, it will help you to diagnose and treat the patient. That's why this liver function tests are very important. And most important liver function test is bilirubin. Right. One more important liver function test is ammonia. As we know, excess ammonia, as ammonia is toxic, it is excreted via it forms the urea and it is excreted in the kidney. So by the urea cycle, and urea cycle is taking place only in the liver, because arginase enzyme is only present only in the liver. So if there is arginase or if there is a liver damage, then this ammonia will be accumulated. Okay, and it will lead to the encephalopathy, hepatic encephalopathy, and will damage the brain. It is a very important. This blood ammonia test will help you to assess the liver function. So if ammonia is normal, you can expect that the liver is normal because it is detoxified to urea in the liver. Then most important are the amines. These are transaminase, liver enzymes. So these enzyme transaminase, most important are SGPT and SGOT. These transaminase, they are SGPT and SGOT, they are present in the liver cell. Whenever there is a damage in the liver, they will come out of the liver cell and it will be present in the blood. And if that level is increased in the blood, that means there is a damage to the liver occurred. So there is an injury that will lead to the increased level of SGPT and SGOT in the blood. So this SGPT, which is also called as the alanine aminotransferase, ALT, it is also called as the SGPT, serum glutamate pyruvate transaminase. It will help you to diagnose the liver disease whether there is a viral hepatitis. So whenever there is a viral hepatitis, their level will be increased. Also, they are also increased in the post-necrotic cirrhosis or following the drug therapy, where whenever there is a liver injury, this enzyme will be increased. Now, here the ratio, it is such that the normal level of SGPT is 49, normal level of SGOT is 46. And if you do the ratio of SGOT to SGPT, that is called D-Ritis ratio. Now, this ratio is normally 0.8. That means SGPT normally is more than SGPT because the ratio is less than 1. So SGPT is the more normally. Whenever there is a liver damage, like viral hepatitis, the SGPT or SGOT level will be increased. Depending on the liver injury, the level will be increased. Like in case of viral hepatitis, if the SGPT level is 2000, SGOT level is around 1700. So SGPT is more than SGOT. But in some condition, well, this ratio is reversed. So in that case, the SGOT to SGPT ratio, if it is more than 2, okay, if SGOT level is increased than SGPT, then you have to suspect the cirrhosis of liver or neoplasm of the liver, hepatoma, or alcoholic cirrhosis. Okay. In all these conditions where the tissue necrosis is there, because there is some amount of SGOT is also present in mitochondria. Whenever there is a liver necrosis occur, SGOT level will be more than the SGPT. Okay, so this is very important, PT and OT ratio. Now coming to the alkaline phosphatase, normal level is 40 to 125. It has a 5 isoenzyme alpha 1 that is present in the biliary canaliculi. So whenever there is obstruction to the bile flow, then this bile will regurgitate back and it will irritate the biliary canaliculi cell, and ultimately epithelial cells are irritated and alkaline phosphatase level is increased. So if alkaline phosphatase level is increased, you can suspect the obstructive jaundice. If SGPT and SGOT, if they are increased, you have to suspect the liver injury, mainly liver parenchymal injury. In obstructive jaundice, also SGPT-OT ratio is increased, but it does not increase more than 2 to 3 fold. Okay, but in case of obstructive jaundice, alkaline phosphatase level is very high. Then alpha 2 isoenzyme or alkaline phosphatase, that is heat labile, it is present in the hepatic cell. So hepatitis also they will be increased, but it does not increase more than 3 times. Okay, normally. Then alpha 2, another portion is heat stable alkaline phosphatase, that is placental origin, and it is present in pregnancy. Okay. Pre-beta is present in the bone, so in bone malignancy LP is increased. So in the growing children also LP level is increased. And gamma is present in the intestine, so ulcerative colitis is increased. Something called a leukocyte ALP, that is increase in lymphoma and decrease in chronic myeloid leukemia and paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. This is also asked in many competitive exams in super specialty also about leukocyte alkaline phosphatase. Then one more enzyme is gamma GCT. So it has 11 isoenzyme present in liver, kidney, pancreas. Normal level is 9 to 58, and it is specific for the alcoholic cirrhosis. In alcoholism, it is increased. So if increased GGT and normal ALP, then you have to suspect the alcohol and drug abuse. And increased ALP but normal GGT, then you have to think of pregnancy or rapid bone growth or bone disease, right? Then recent enzyme is nucleotidase. Okay, and it is very important, and it is increased in the obstructive jaundice. Okay. Then very important, another liver function test is prothrombin time. As we know, prolongation of prothrombin time, if more than 2 seconds, normally is 11.5 to 12.5. If it is prolonged, if it is more than 2 seconds, it is prolonged, it is because of the liver. Because liver injury, what will happen? There is a prothrombin time is synthesized, prothrombin is synthesized in the liver. If there is a liver injury, then there is a this factor will not be synthesized, so it will lead to the prolongation. So, okay, of prothrombin time. It will also increase in case of vitamin K deficiency, right? So we have to, if you want to rule out whether there is a increased prothrombin time is due to the vitamin K deficiency or liver injury, then we have to give injection of vitamin K. If it is due to the vitamin K deficiency, then prothrombin time will be normal. But in case of increased prothrombin time due to the hepatitis or cirrhosis, even after administration of vitamin K, prothrombin time does not normalize. Now coming to the synthetic function of the liver, that is albumin. So albumin is mainly synthesized in the liver. It is a main plasma protein. Its half-life is 14 to 20 days. Okay, and it is a marker of poor nutrition. So whenever, as we know, whenever there is a liver damage, this albumin is not synthesized, so albumin level is decreased. Okay, and coming to the globulins, there is a haptoglobulin, transferrin, ceruloplasmin. So ceruloplasmin will be decreased in case of liver injury, and in case of liver damage, severe liver damage, these proteins will not be synthesized. So ceruloplasmin in Wilson disease, it will be decreased. And one more case is alpha fetoprotein. It is a tumor marker test. In case of liver hepatoblastoma or hepatocellular carcinoma, their level will be increased. Then gamma globulins, if there is IgG, it may be due to the autoimmune hepatitis, IgM, primary biliary cirrhosis, IgA, alcoholic liver disease. You can remember IgA, A for A, alcoholic liver disease, IgG, autoimmune disease, IgM, primary biliary cirrhosis. Then excretory function, one more, that bromosulfothalin test. Now it is obsolete, but you should know what our BSP test. So here we give about 50 gram per liter of single injectable bromosulfothalin dye. Okay, normally it is excreted in the bile, and only less than 2% is excreted in the kidney. Okay, but if it is more than 5% of BSP dye present in the kidney, that is suggestive of liver damage. One more thing is galactose tolerance test. Galactose tolerance test. In that we give around 350 milligram per kg. Okay, that dose, and 25 to 30% of that solution of this galactose is given in 3 minutes IV, and we take the blood and and we measure this galactose at 10 minutes and 1 hour. Normally it is metabolized, half-life is only 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, and if it is increased, that means there is a liver damage. Just to know about this. Okay, so we do the in abdominal LFT liver function test. We do the SGPT, SGOT. If it is more than 3, then the reference limit, and ALP does not increase. That means there is a hepatocellular disease. Then we do the albumin level. If albumin level is normal, that means it is acute hepatitis, because albumin will be decreased when there is a chronic liver disease. So whenever chronic hepatitis, then only albumin level is decreased. Remember this. This is very important. Then if ALT and SGPT and SGOT is less than 3, but ALT is more than 2, that upper reference limit, and it is a cholestatic disease. If it is normal albumin, then acute cholestasis. If it is a low albumin, then chronic cholestasis. Then we have to do the ultrasonography and other imaging. So to rule out whether there is intrahepatic cholestasis, just like alcoholic cirrhosis, or extrahepatic cholestasis, just like gallstone or carcinoma of head of pancreas. Okay. So bilirubin, as we know, jaundice, hemolytic. Okay. Unconjugated bilirubin will be increased in hemolytic jaundice. In obstructive jaundice, conjugated bilirubin is increased, and both will be increased in liver disease. Right. Urobilinogen is increased in case of hemolytic disease because of the increased breakdown of RBC. So urobilinogen will be increased. In hepatic jaundice, also some amount will be increased, and it is absent in obstructive jaundice. And after the operation of gallstone or carcinoma of head of pancreas, if urobilinogen is present, that is a good sign. SGPT, SGOT are very much increased in case of hepatocellular jaundice, and slightly increased in obstructive jaundice, but it is not increased in case of hemolytic jaundice. ALP increase in obstructive jaundice. Right. So this is a brief view. So if I summarize it and emphasize on the main liver function test. Okay. So as we know, this liver function test will help us to identify the different type of jaundice, like bilirubin. Okay. So if direct bilirubin is increased, that is the obstructive jaundice. If indirect bilirubin is increased, that is the hemolytic jaundice. Okay, so we can identify if there is obstructive jaundice, cause are different. Gallstone, carcinoma of head of pancreas. If it is a indirect bilirubin, then cause are different, like B6PD deficiency or RH incompatibility, like that. And if direct and indirect both are increased, that means hepatic jaundice, right? So most common cause is viral hepatitis. That bilirubin is very important. It's total direct level. Then SGPT, SGOT. Okay, so depend on that, they will help us whether there is a how much the liver injury. If the level is injury is more than SGPT, SGOT is increased, then alkaline phosphatase in case of obstructive jaundice, it is very increased. Then total protein, albumin, they are very helpful in they are synthetic function of the liver, and in case of liver injury, chronic liver injury, chronic hepatitis, the total protein and albumin level is decreased. And if globulin level is increased, that is suggestive of gamma globulin, maybe due to multiple myeloma, like that. And AG ratio, that will help you to identify whether there is a true hyperproteinemia, hyper or hypoproteinemia, or pseudo. Like if there is a condition, now suppose total protein is 5 grams per 100 ml. If due to the dehydration or vomiting, when our plasma volume is depleted, suppose 5 grams in 50 ml, then it will be your 10 grams in 100 ml. So this is a pseudo hyperproteinemia. So in that case, what will happen? Albumin and globulin, both will be increased. Okay. And AG ratio will be normal in case of pseudo hypo or hyperproteinemia. Like this is a case of pseudo hyperproteinemia. If like in case of hypoproteinemia, if there is a volume overload, so suppose 5 grams in 200 ml, what plasma volume is increased. In that case, our protein will be 2.5 grams per 100 ml. So that is a pseudo hypoproteinemia. So to differentiate between true and pseudo hypo and hyperproteinemia, this protein albumin level is very important. Then there are some viral tests like HBsAg. Okay. Then IgA, IgM, and IgG. IgG will be increased in autoimmune disease. IgM in primary biliary cirrhosis. IgA is in alcoholic liver disease. So this immunological test will help you to different diagnosis of liver disease. Then there are tests like ceruloplasmin test. Ceruloplasmin test, that is decrease in Wilson disease. Then alpha fetoprotein, that is increase in hepatocellular carcinoma. Then prothrombin test. So as we know, prothrombin is a factor that is synthesized in the liver. So this in case of bleeding disorders, this prothrombin time is increased. Okay. And there are some bromosulfothelin tests that are not nowadays that much used. Okay, so in case if the level is more than 5%, then in the kidney, in the urine, that is suggestive of liver injury. Or there is a galactose tolerance test, and it is increased in case of liver damage. There is uric acid test. As we know, uric acid benzyl-CoA binds with glycine and form the uric acid. Okay, so that is very important in the axillary function. Then urobilinogen, the level is increased in case of hemolytic jaundice. And one more is urine bilirubin, okay, and it is increased in case of conjugated bilirubin. And in obstructive jaundice, urobilinogen is absent, and if it is present, then suggestive of recovery. So this is, I think, all about the liver function test. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share my video, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for my future video also. Thank you very much, friends, for watching. Bye.